Possibly business was playing. It wants to do under price action. Draw your highest level. Honestly speaking, I feel like H4 should be drawn in between. This is my trend. Dumelang, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are a returning subscriber, and if you're new here, welcome home. So last week we introduced a new segment, which is this segment, right? And we had our first topic, which was where do I start? That was the segment. So in today's class, we will be looking at the other part of the segment, which is the planning part. Guys, every person that has a business needs to have a plan, because now a plan will help you navigate around business aspect of things. So business was a plan. It doesn't work like that. You need to have a plan, especially if you want to have a successful business, or especially if you are in the trading business. Believe it or not, like I said before, Forex is actually a business. And I feel like our biggest mistake as traders is not treating it as a business. And that is why we encounter a lot of problems, you know. And one of the most important things about being a trader or getting into the trading business is you need to have a plan. And this planning comes as a format of a trading plan. A trading plan. Someone will say, what's a trading plan? A trading plan is basically like a business plan. It's just that it's a trading plan. Instead of a business plan, you actually say trading plan. So someone will say, what is in a trading plan, or what should you put in your trading plan? You need to put the strategy that you're going to use, your target, your stop losses, your TPs. You need to indicate what your business of trading is all about. So are you into the gold side of the business, or are you into the US30 side of business, or are you in the volatility side of business? So a trading plan helps you with that. So I feel like now we need to break down a trading plan, and get into detail in terms of how a trading plan works, how you drop a trading plan, how to write a trading plan, and all that. So I'm going to use my trading plan to get into like conversations about Wanyana. Okay, so let's get to it. So the first thing that you need to have in your trading plan is your strategy. Your strategy, your target. What else? Your focus. And lastly, your what? What do you add here? Lastly, anyone, comment in the comment section what you will normally add here. With me, what I would do is I would keep this as a question mark until I have everything figured out. But so far, these are the three aspects that you need to look at. So let's break it down. In terms of strategy, the strategy is how do you approach your business, or how do you approach things in your business rather, which is your Forex business. Guys, I feel like I should write it here. This is a Forex business, so that you guys don't get confused. Or why is she referring it as a business? So treat it as a business. So guys, strategy we have different strategies. You need to find a strategy that works for you. We have patterns. We have trend lines, which is these ones duela under price action. We have zone working. Yes, we have zones and order blocks. And these ones duela under SMC ICT. So you need to find what works for you. For me, this is what works perfect. This is my department. And someone will ask, why is this your department and not this? The reason why this is my department and not this is because I feel like this is a bit more complicated for me rather than this one. So with this one, it's not as complicated. Actually, it's actually times 100 easy to understand this. I mean, with this one, you just need to look out for W's, for M's, for head and shoulders, these are the things you need to look out for, So with this one, you need to look out for when the market gets to like a candlestick. This is the order block, and it gets very frustrating, or it gets a bit confusing for me, right? And you will find that you also will find it a bit confusing. And with these ones, I feel like it's a matter of just maybe turning or changing your chart to a line chart, and then you'll be able to indicate these. You get what I mean? You'll be able, I mean, everyone knows their W's, their M's, everyone knows head and shoulders. And if you feel like saying or calling it head and shoulders can be quite difficult, you can always look for a crown, right? So this is like a mini nickname I gave to this strategy here. And in terms of trend lines, you just have to draw lines. And also another thing is that the reason why I love these two is because they correlate or they correspond. I don't know if I will be able to. Yes, perfect. So you will find that this works hand in hand with this as confirmation. So in most cases, like your trend line is like this, this is your trend line, because trend lines are basically like lines, like these are trend lines. You just need to look for lines and wait for the market to break out. That is just it. You get what I mean? And someone will be like, oh, it can be, yes, it's it. This is just it. You get what I mean? So that is why I mainly focus on these ones, because I feel like it's easy for me to understand them. We will obviously get into detail about this and all this and on the next class. But for now, let's come back here. As I was saying to you guys, that my focus is here, which is price action. I'm a price action baby. I love price action. I believe in price action. I live for price action because it makes running my Forex business very easy. So I feel like, yeah. So the next thing is focus. When we talk about focus, we're talking about what are we focusing on? The strategy, where are you going to implement it? I implement the strategy on gold. I implement the strategy on USD/JPY. I implement the strategy on Euro, Euro NZD. I implement the strategy on volatility. And others, of course. So where do you implement your strategy? Basically, the question is, what do you trade? So this is where I implement this strategy. Then my target can be weekly, target can be daily. Target can be weekly, target can be daily. Your target can be $30. . Your target can be $50 or even 500 za or 700 pula. But I prefer my targets in dollars because I mean it makes sense to run a business in dollars. I mean, what USD I say, you know? So it makes sense. However, whatever rocks your boat, at the end of the day, you have what? You have your target. So you need to know your target. If your target is $30, you need to determine, is it $30 per day? Is it $30 per week? Is it $30? $30 basically. And of course, if this is $30 a week, guys, you can just divide this by 4. And then it will give you your daily target. You know? You can just divide this by 4 and then it will give you your daily target on how to reach this. Remember, the end goal is to get here by the end of the week. So you can just divide it by 4. Why am I dividing it by 4, guys? Because usually I don't like trading on Friday because Friday is a bit busy and Friday is just hectic, you know. So this is 4 days, guys. Don't get confused. This is 4 days. Then it will give you your daily target. Even when you divide 500 by 4 days, it will still give you your daily target for, okay, for a day you need to make this much for you to get to your target. You get what I mean? So this is basically your trading plan. Makes sense, ne? So on our trading plan, we had our focus. We covered focus last week. We have tried strategies. We are going to cover strategies now. We come now to this part. PDFs explain this a lot. PDFs talk about this a lot. PDFs covered this a lot. Yeah. So we are here now. I said to you, we will be focusing on price action. We will be focusing on price action. So we have your trend lines, you have your support and resistance, we have your trend lines, we have your patterns, what else do we have? I think I can also add zones, guys, because zones and support and resistance are more or less like the same thing. So these are your strategies when it comes to price action. Let's start here. What is support and resistance? How does support and resistance work? Support and resistance is basically 2 lines that box the chart. This is your chart. This is your support. This is your resistance. So for me to simplify it for you, I will say support and resistance, basically 2 lines boxing the chart. So use resistance to mark your highest level, and then use support to mark your what? To mark your lowest level. So support and resistance are basically zones that determine your highest level on your chart and your lowest level on your chart. Support low, resistance high. So someone will ask, which time frame do I draw my support and resistance? I believe that you can draw your support and resistance from your daily time frame, your daily, your H4. I usually use these time frames, you know. They usually basically share the same support and resistance. So I usually use like my high time frame to determine the highest point and the lowest point of my market. So this is basically my market, and this is the lowest level of the market, and this is the highest level of the market. So that is how you determine your support and resistance. So how do I practice to draw support and resistance? Tilt the screen of your phone if you are using a phone and look for the highest level, right? So when I say highest level, I mean after this level, there's no movement here. There's no any other movement here. After this level, there's no any other movement. So that is your highest level, meaning it is a level that closes the market in. You get? And then your support, same thing. When I say look for your support, I mean look for a level that does not, or a level where else nothing happens above, below that level. So that is how you determine your support and resistance. So just tilt the screen of your phone, draw your highest level, draw your lowest level on your daily time frame, your H4, your H1, whatever time frame that works for you. Someone will say daily is too quiet for them, and it's normal. It's normal. Daily can be quiet for you to determine these. Someone will say H4 is too loud for me, I can't really determine these levels, and it's also normal. Someone will say H1 is just too. So I always, like, honestly speaking, I feel like H4 is in between. H4 is between the quiet and the loud. So you can always use H4 when you want to practice on how to draw your support and resistance. And this is called structure. You use these time frames to look for structure. So when you think structure, you think these time frames. Yes, we can move to monthly. Yes, we can move to weekly. But these time frames, I feel like they work well for beginners or day traders or scalpers, people who don't really want to swing. I don't know if I'm making sense. So we spoke about swinging and scalping on our first episode. If you did not watch, go watch. When you think structure, you must think these time frames. We use these time frames for structure. We use these time frames for structure. We use these time frames for structure. I cannot emphasize enough. We use D1H for H1 for structure, right? And then we come now to, remember what I said? I said support resistance is your highest level on your chart and your lowest level on your chart. So highest resistance, lowest support. And this is called what? It's called a structure. So it's basically a box. You are basically boxing your chart, right? And then we come to zones. Zones and support and resistance are basically the same thing, guys. They're basically the same thing. So the same way you trade support and resistance is the same way you trade zones. The only difference is that zones can be drawn in between support and resistance. So if this is your resistance and this is your support and this is your market, right? This is your market. Zones will be at every point where the market reacts. So if you see that a market is reacting here, we consider this a zone. You see if the market is reacting here, you consider it a zone. You see if the market is reacting here, you consider it a zone. So zones can be drawn, or preferably zones should be drawn in between support and resistance. They make it easy. So we usually use zones, guys, to look for the next TP or the next SL. I don't know if I'm making sense. So if you execute here, you know who your TP will be on the next zone. Then if it breaks out of here, it means your TP will be on the next zone. So zones are normally used, or I normally use zones for TPs and stop losses for me to understand where's my stop loss and where is my TP, basically, right? And then we come to my favorite. Trend lines are also support and resistance. It's just that didn't skew, like, So this and this is the same thing. It's just that this is this and this is this, but it's the same thing. So this is R, this is your R, and this is S, this is S. I know it's given geometry, but it's easy, guys. It's very easy. It's quite easy, So it's basically the same thing. It's just that this one iyakwa, ayikwa, and this one iyakwa, you know? So it's like the same thing. So this one needs like a whole segment of it, or a whole class of it explaining how this works, how. However, I will try and get into detail when it comes to this. We have different types of trend lines. We have triangles, we have patterns, we have triangles, we have flags, we have ascending trend lines, we have descending trend lines, we have, yes. So usually on my side I use we have wedges. We have a rising wedgie, we have a falling wedgie, we have a flag, we have triangles, we have a sitting triangle, we have descending triangles. So there are 5, which is your 2 wedges, your 2 triangles, and the mother, or rather the OG, which is your flag, right? So obviously you need to read about this before I can get into it. So you need to get a PDF and read about this. Then you can understand. Then we have patterns. I said to you, we have W's, we have M's, we have V's, we have head and shoulders, we have bleedy head and shoulders, sana upside down, basically. So these are the patterns that we have. We have so many patterns, guys. We also have cups. We also have cups. We also have, oh guys, but these ones are normally the ones we use. Cup, yes, it's there, but it's not really like a pattern that you'll find fine, you know. So but these ones are the ones they long like you always find them. So they're basically like a supporting strategy. You know, when you execute in trading, you can't execute, I don't know, maybe you see a sell, you can't execute a sell because now the market is at resistance, or the market is at a zone, or the market is broken out of a trend line. You need supporting points. So we use patterns as supporting pointers. So if you have zones again, these are your zones, these are your zones, these are your zones. You can see, okay, we're gonna shoot to the upside, right? Okay, this is your R, this is your S, and you can see what we're gonna shoot to the upside. You're gonna call that buy, right? However, you can't just say it's a buy because of one strategy or based on one strategy. You need 2 or 3 strategies, and usually these help to support all of these, you know. So we use these to support all of these. So basically, buy is a mile W. Sell it's a mile M. Sell it's a mile M. And then inverted head and shoulders, which is the upside down head and shoulders. Okay, buy. Okay. So what? It's a buy. And then your normal head and shoulders. King sell. So we're not the same thing. So we normally use patterns to support these. So like I said to you, you need at least 2 reasons to execute for a position. You can't say it's a buy because like it's breaking out, it's reversing. No, that's not enough reason. I mean, it can reverse and then come back, then or blow. So you need more reasons, and we usually use these as more reasons. So we normally look for patterns, you know, as something say yes, this is a buy. And then patterns, trend line. This is my trend line. This is my trend line. And this is my trend line. So do you see how these strategies work together? Do you see? This is a trend line. This is support and resistance. This is a zone. This is a trend line. This is a trend line. This is support. So can you see how they all work together? And that is why I love price action. You know where the danger is. We will continue this conversation on our next class. Chipilile, go attend your next period. Thank you so much for joining my session. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please do not forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. Tango.